Hello there, this is Alexander Hall for Viva Voce Week 7. Let's get started here. Right, so question 1. What research have I undertaken independently this week? The main research that I've done is contrasting Bitch Boxer, which was by Charlotte Josephine, it's called Bitch Boxer, and comparing it with the GCSE girl from Grenfell Tower, who did her chemistry exam about 6 hours before the fire happened, something like 8 or 6. But yeah, and it was on, and her 2 interviews were on this morning, which is on ITV, showing her after the fire, after the exam, and of course the interview of where she found out that she got an A in her GCSEs for chemistry on the 8 hours after the fire. So pretty much what I've had to do is contrast the fact that Bitch Boxer was all about a girl called Chloe who wants to be a boxer and compete for the Olympics in 2012, and her father, who was like her figurehead, was kind of a figure to her and gave her tips to keep motivated, etc. The father died, and so she had to just go herself without having him to spoon feed her, if you know what I mean. And then, so what I had to do was compare like GCSE girl. So her name was Eva, and what happened with her was she got out of the flat that night, and she took her equipment, like her notes that she took to look over before her exam, so she could really concentrate on the exam for the next day. And then and just had to motivate herself and persevere herself without. So it's kind of like a good contrast with, like, you've been through a difficult time, and they're both tragedies. So for Chloe in Bitch Boxer, her losing her father was a massive thing to her, and you know, it would be to anyone who'd lose a parent at that age, especially at the time when he died. And of course with GCSE girl Eva, who lost her flat before her exam but still persevered. She wanted to still do it, even though she knew she had no home to go to. She wanted to do it just for her own benefit, which I thought was really, really powerful. Which shows that you can still do anything if you put your mind to it, and it doesn't matter. You just have to be willing to take it, no matter what difficulty you've been in. How have I applied this in class? Well, in terms of with the GCSE girl sequence, so with our exam section that we've been working on with Joe, which unfortunately now has been cut because we haven't. It's been really complicated. It's just not helped everyone. So unfortunately, we've had to cut it. However, how I can apply it is when we were researching Eva and her exam afterwards, we wanted to try and mash in the exam and talk about how we felt from our GCSE exams only the last few years, and then just kind of blend it in with what we've learnt from Eva and the feeling she probably felt. She probably felt a lot different when we did our exams, so we wanted to try and mash that in with like how the intensity goes when you're in an exam, you know what I mean. But yeah, what practical problems have I come across this week? Mainly hanging from the rig. So with this, with our sheets that we've just worked on in one of our new sections called movements. So it's like a movement with our sheets, with 1A doing their sequence, and then Emily Summit does her monologue. So one of the practical problems I had was trying to keep in time with when to let go of the sheet on the side that I was in, and then grab the next one from Grace, and then the same applies for the whole when going around in a square, just doing the whole section, and also making sure that I'm balancing the space out, so spatial awareness, of course, and trying not to be too enclosed, especially with Emily Summit before her monologue, so don't get too enclosed with her. So yeah. Anyway, yes. What practitioners have I come across this week? I've come across Frantic Assembly. We've come across Complicité as well. So we've pretty much been going over weekly. You know, Frantic is just as relevant to this project that we've been working on for the last 8 weeks now. So yeah, it's one of the most important ones for us. One of the most important practitioners to keep looking over. Have we created anything new, and what has been the outcome of it? Okay, so we've made a new afterlife sequence, which is something that we've been working on with Joe, which was on the Wednesday. We've also been working on movements with the sheets, which I've mentioned in one of the other questions, and adapting a new lift technique for the Conquest of Spaces sequence, which we're doing as a full ensemble, because we knew that it was we could have maybe made the lifts a bit more effective. And yeah, so what we've done is we've completely adapted a new lift called just so it's easier and makes it more entertaining as well. So we had to work over that, which is new to us. And also we also looked over some completed choreography, which we did with Joe, which was about the afterlife sequence, and learnt the little texts that we had to work on in the session that we had this Wednesday. So look at one text, memorize it, get it over in our heads, and then yeah. Also, I looked at we did the Theresa May monologue, which we staged for the first time, which I got the chance to show to everyone. So that's being placed, and where it's being placed is after the protests, so it can kind of come across, you know, the protesters are protesting. They say, Theresa May, why are you not helping us? And so what I'm supposed to do as the Prime Minister is come across as really patronising and try and take power over the situation. And yeah, pretty much that. Next thing, keep in time and balance the space and communicate more with eye contact, and work as more as an ensemble. This one particularly applies with the sheet sequence, which has Emily Summit's monologue in it. What we need to be aware of is having eye contact with each other. Especially I need to make more eye contact with Grace, because she's the one who passes me the sheets that I'm supposed to take next, and also have eye contact with Micah, because he's the one who collects the sheet that I pass straight to him. So I need to make sure that I'm communicating with them, having eye contact with them. And the same with Demi, of course. So have eye contact, just communicate with eye contact by looking at each other. You know, this is a main technique to have as a performer. You know, musicians use it when they're doing a concert. Presenters do this when they're presenting something to an audience. They need to have eye contact with the people before they go on and do their cue to present their speech. So yeah, it's just as important for any of that. Yeah, and taking cues from directors and remembering our movement, which is the most essential thing we need to learn. So making sure that we take notes and understand our cues as well. So if we don't understand, we shouldn't hesitate to ask, because that is the thing that we need to make sure we do. Another one is spacing out the afterlife section and project our text. We might have only known it just today. We might only know it in one day, but still we need to make sure that we're confident enough to project it out. Even if we improvise, we just got to be as projective, because the Vapor Theatre, it's a big space, so projection is key. So we need to make sure that we're that we're trying to get the voice as dynamic, and also make sure that our mouths are moving in the right spaces, so that we can breathe through our diaphragm, get out that voice as much as we can, and it'll seem a lot easier. But we need to learn it, be confident with it, and project it, which we have to do, especially in a big space. You can't afford to be mumbling or doing any of that. You just need to project. And that's it for me. Thank you very much. This is Alexander Hall for Viva Voce Week 7. And thank you very much for listening, and have a good day.